Peaceful Army.
Peaceful Army.
Welcome to the podcast of the Peaceful Army.
What? Really? And I'm not sorry.
What does it mean?
Oh my god! Greta's gonna wreck my shit.
Yes, I'm obsessed with Greta Van Fleet, and what do you care?
I think I'll make this my entire identity.
That was not very Peaceful Army of you. If you don't like it, you can fuck off!
Welcome to the podcast of the Peaceful Army. I am your co-host, Lindsay.
And I am your co-host, Zoe.
Yay! Y'all, we have a fun episode today because our better half is here. Our other Gresty.
Our better third?
Our better... The tripod of the Gresties is what I would call it.
Tripod. Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that. Perfect. All right, well, let's add in our tripod member.
Gresty Maddie, yeah!
Gresty Maddie. Do you want full government name introduction?
Yeah, but the one that Lindsay's assigned to me.
Okay, Lindsay, why don't you tell everybody her government name?
I don't know. I think that's too sacred. I think that's my...
Yeah, you're right.
I think that's my special name for you. I don't want the world to know it.
It's not that bad, guys. It's nothing
No,
weird.
no.
It's just
No.
Lindsay gives delicate names to everybody, and it is kind of sacred.
It is.
Mhm.
There you go. But
I like being a tripod, though.
It's a good shape, you know. But a lot will be revealed because we have much things to talk about because of the events that we have gone to, many different things. What are we getting ourselves into, people?
Well, first we got to get into the Grestimony. We got to introduce our guest. You got to tell us who you are, why we should think that you're cool, and how Greta has overcome your life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Without further ado, no, I have the mic. Yeah, so hello. I don't know what to say. It's weird because I know you two so well, but I know I'm not talking to just the two of you.
Yeah.
You're talking to a million people, actually. Live audience here. You just can't see them.
Yeah.
Correct.
They're really quiet.
They are very mindful.
Very demure.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I usually What, Zoe? Okay. I thought we were gotcha. Right. Yeah, so my name is Madison. I'm an artist and filmmaker, and Greta has definitely been an influence to me and my artwork for a couple of years, I would say, but most prominently this year. And when thinking about my, what is it called? Grestimony?
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Are you going to coin that? Is that a thing?
I don't know if it was us that coined it.
Eliza uses it too, but I think that was kind of our like shtick to each other, and so we expanded upon it. We popularized the phrase. God, I hate myself.
I don't know. So like I heard Heat Above. I heard Heat Above in 21, and it was a great introduction because I didn't know what they looked like. I didn't even know the band's name. It was just playing at something I was at, and I had to like stop all the conversation because the drums and the organ and just the build up of the song kind of stopped me in my tracks. So that song made a difference in the way I kind of like started to listen to music and what I was looking for sonically. And I think a year later, I was just scrolling through Instagram and I saw the You're the One SNL clip. And I was like, wait, I recognize that name. I happened to look them up. I found out that they were playing the next day in my hometown.
Shut up.
And yeah, and it was meant to be, and I had to go, even though I only really liked Heat Above at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up giving some other songs a chance, like I really liked Safari Song and The Weight of Dreams. I listened to all the way through, and I think it goes without saying that it's like one of the best that they've ever written. Mm-hmm. It's also one of the best they've performed because when I went to the show, that's what stuck with me the most.
Oh yeah.
That and like the trio of Broken Bells, Age of Machine, and The Weighted Dreams, that lineup, I think, tells such a strong story in that narrative, and that stuck out to me as a viewer. So that all happened, and you'd think that after like a live show of that level, you would just dive right in, but I'm stubborn, and I kind of was like, okay, cool. Anyway, followed them all on Instagram, of course, and was kind of keeping up with them, but my cat just joined me on we
Which
had some
one?
captions in for that. This is Phoenix, and I can't lift him at the moment because he's wedged himself on my lap, but
He'll make an
anyway,
appearance.
yes, he will. We could put a picture of him in here. Anyway, so it wasn't until I think May of 23 when Meeting the Master came out, and all of the promo and the music video came out, and I remember listening to the song on repeat, but also when watching the music video, I was like, whoa, they're artists. They are way more than I thought they were, and I was really excited to get to know them a little bit more and what they're all about. And that was both like a blessing and a curse, because you go on YouTube and you watch, you know, interviews and behind the scenes things, and I really wanted to pick their brain about the art behind the music and the video. So along with that, I found funny interviews and sweet fan interactions and them performing live that made me remember the moment the year before that I like cherished so much. So it was kind of like a dive off the highest board, the high dive.
Yeah. Into the deep end.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Into the deep end, because
You walked
no
all
more-
the way up and then had to wait, just gain the confidence, and then
She was just playing in the kiddie, in the like shallow end for a little while. You were too scared,
100%.
and then you finally made it up to that diving board, and you leaped.
headlong.
Oh, I leaped,
And
now
you've been
I'm
on, quite a journey.
Yes, and it's crazy that it's been a little over a year now that I've felt a part of the community that I remember feeling a part of in other fandoms. But I'm in a different part of my life right now that I think has been the most steady and fulfilling, with friendships and art and music, and that journey of like discovering what I want to be doing and who I am. So it's nice that I have the band and the music and the art and the friends and the community as a whole to bring me along a journey that I have always kind of maybe needed.
Yeah, it's truly like, you know, we say the peaceful army and that we're a community, but I don't think people from the outside truly realize how much of a community it is, because you could follow someone on Instagram and then like 2 weeks later, you're talking to them every day and they're supporting you and reposting your stuff. And, you know, it is very supportive and it has its moments, but at the end of the day, we're all really loyal, which I think is different than some fandoms, or maybe not so different, but I don't know. It's a nice little clique group thing that we have, which is, it's so weird how much it's changed in a year.
Even in 12 months. But it's like its own little microcosm too, of like you just immediately have this thing in common with people, and that seems to be like one of the strongest things, because it's Greta.
Yeah,
I've found that the majority of people I've connected with have either been photographers, filmmakers, musicians themselves, fine artists, people who are trying to find their artistic outlet in any form of art, of the art umbrella, writing. So it doesn't surprise me that we've all found our home and that we're all sharing the space in such a pleasant way, and that they're kind of nurturing it a little bit too.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and it's weird. We were saying this earlier. It's been a year from one of the shows that we were both at that we didn't know each other at, and one of the shows that kind of got a lot of recognition from Josh, which was still insane. I was looking back at the clips today. So this was the Boston show, and he said that this was one of the greatest audiences they've ever had the pleasure of playing for. And Maddie, you saw it better than I did, but they literally like had to tell him to get off the stage. Like he was out there like waving and wouldn't leave the stage, which crazy.
Yeah, sorry, you were frozen and it was kind of doing something weird, so I wasn't sure if we wanted to wait a second.
So sorry.
No, we can put some like clips over that. I can send you some of my footage. Yeah, I was in the pit for that show. I had I had Jake Catwalk Barricade, and that was my first show that I've actually attended by myself and met some people there. I even met somebody on the barricade that there was like a little gap there, and I didn't really know where to go or what to do, but I knew that if there was a spot on the bar that I would go for that instead of like 3 or 4 rows in of the pit. It was really nice to be in that space because I felt like that was the closest I had been, and seeing it from different perspectives was really fun, as you guys all know. So but yeah, at the end of the show, he was kind of waving his arms around and going back and forth on the stage, and the others kind of already left the stage, and you could just tell that Josh wanted to linger as long as possible. And I've heard from locals that when artists visit Boston, they're enchanted. It's like something goes inside of them and they become a part of the space. So I'm not surprised that he felt that, and that they probably all felt that too.
Well, I've been like, as a native of the Boston area, I'm not from Boston, but if you're within a radius of Boston, you say you're from Boston. That's just the mass thing to do. But I grew up most of my life, like if I had a big concert or something I was going to, like one of my first concerts ever was the Jonas Brothers at TD Garden. And like I've been going to shows since forever there. But nothing, and when I tell you nothing, has matched the energy, the loudness, the excitement of the people, and it was insane. Like I thought Greta was playing loud, but it was the people singing, because when Josh stopped singing for a second, you could hear the crowd, and it was nuts.
That's awesome.
I don't know if that's just a thing with the New England people, because I felt like a lot of people that came to the Pittsburgh show were from New England too, and that was a loud and very exciting show as well. So
It was.
I don't know what the energy was in Boston, but it was on another level. That was the show that really like pushed me into the fandom, because people were friendly, and I was nervous being in the ridiculous outfit I was in, but people were walking up and handing bracelets to me, and it was like, oh my God. And there was this one girl who came over and gave me like a handful. She was like, I see that you have, some on you, but I want you to have these. And I was like, oh my God. And it was just that light bulb moment of like, oh, this is the place that is safe, and I want to be here forever. So I don't know if you experienced that camaraderie in the pit necessarily, but it was around the stadium for sure.
I definitely did. I think that was not my first show of the tour, and I went to Nashville, and I had
let's bring that up, shall we?
oh, that's like we had a perfect segue. I attended Nashville, and I had seats, so it was a different vibe. It usually is from anywhere in the arena that's not the pit. But just to kind of relate to what you're saying about the energy in the pit for Boston, I noticed that the first 5 rows are kind of sandwiched up against the barricade, and then there's so much room after that to move around and dance, and and go back and forth between catwalks, and that shocked me. It's not something I observed from Nashville. I wasn't paying attention in the pit. I was paying attention to people on stage. But being on the catwalk, I was like, okay, I have to stay here. People are going to take my spot. No. Once you're kind of established there, unless there's certain people you have to worry about, there's usually no reason to. So I think, you know, some of the people that I had met walked from like Sam's side to Jake's side and back during the songs. And during Farewell for Now, I left my spot and I walked over with some friends that I had made to the middle, and there was a group in front of us of what looked like college kids, like some college dudes, and they were all like you know, leaning, like swaying back and forth, and just seemed like so wholesome, and like anybody from every demographic was enjoying themselves and wanted the party to continue for hours and hours. So that was my take on it. I had a very good experience for the first time in the pit, and being there alone, I wasn't really sure, but I knew that I wanted to be there regardless of who I was meeting and what connections I would make. So
yeah,
That's awesome.
well, since you mentioned it, can you tell us about Nashville?
Yeah, with the
Yes.
lights. How was that, seeing that live?
With the lights.
Light My
Yeah.
Love for the first
My
time?
love.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yeah, that was really special. We, my friend and I had seats on Jake's side, so that section I think was the first section. So we had red, and I'm looking at the little like ticket right now that they handed out with instructions on what to do and when to do it, and that was so beautiful because during the song, you just saw everybody participate. Even the pit, I think the pit had all the colors of the rainbow. So it was beautiful to watch from up a little bit higher. And then something we didn't expect, and something that still makes me like emotional, is seeing Josh be so emotional after it, because I don't think he was expecting it. And I was like on the side with the bigger screen, so I had a big view of the moment. And we all thought that maybe he wasn't feeling well. There was something weird going on because the lights were off. You could see him kind of pacing back and forth and like kind of like covering his mouth or something. And then when he started to speak, all of the boys kind of like stepped back, and you could just see them giving, like you could see them giving their brother a moment.
I'm gonna cry.
And that was like, and that was instinctual. Like they did not plan that, and that was really like you could just tell the relationship from based off of that alone. And they were short and sweet, and there's plenty of videos going around of it that you could watch, because I could not do it justice by explaining. But I think being present for a moment like that and seeing everybody feel something, whether you feel connected to it personally or not, like that song is beautiful. So that was a great show. So that was fun. I was with someone that really isn't a fan, and that was cool because I got to watch them enjoy it actually, and now become a kind of a fan. But at the same time, I think watching them come out in outfits I had never seen before and sing songs that I basically had like 72 hours to learn.
Yeah.
Seeing the catwalks for the first time. I was wearing this outfit that we've had up for like 20 minutes now. Sorry.
You're fine.
So yeah, I don't know if there's specific questions that you want to know, but it was
Well,
amazing.
yeah. Do you want to talk about, this jacket so we can transition into the next big ticket item?
Of course. So this jacket here, I created, I kind of embellished a clothing item where it had like a cloak sort of thing going on. And I sewed in, I should have sent a picture of the front, but this side is cooler. I added some sparkly fabric to mimic Sam's arm situation happening from the sleeve. Yeah,
Sam's
that.
arm situation.
Yeah,
I
Sam's
don't know.
arm.
It's
We
just it's
know.
so
We know what you're
beautiful.
talking
His
about.
wings.
It's his
Yeah,
wings.
Sam's
Thank
wings.
you.
Yeah.
It's definitely my favorite thing that Greta's ever worn. And I know that's like crazy for me to say, and they can still top it for next tour, but Sam's outfits are my favorite. So
They're very intricate.
yeah, and I was inspired by looking at it right now, the outfits that they wore for the promotional pictures for this album, and wanted there to be stars and silver and black beads embedded into every crevice. And the sword, this is such an interesting outfit for me to look at now, because all of the elements on the back, the sword, the A's that I have in the corners, the stars, those symbols were not as prominent when I was designing it. They were hidden on the website. They were just used in the promotional photo, and not even like, we hadn't seen this mural yet. We didn't see the backdrop of the tour. They didn't post anything about it other than like some videos of Jake holding the sword or whatever. So
Right.
I picked up on the small details of what I was observing from the art they were putting out, and I wanted to create my own version of it. And it was awesome to see them starting to use both the A and the sword so much. And I would have thrown up, I think, if Jake walked out in Nashville with the black sprinkle suit with the A on the back. I think I would have.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
It's
he
very
had it
reminiscent.
already. He
Yeah.
had it already. And when I saw the sketches that the costume designer Amber put out of the prior plans for that suit, and that it had a sword on the back, I did throw up. So I just want to make that clear. Like, that did happen. But
Right.
if it did happen earlier on or at all, I would have left the fandom. Just kidding. So very cool things. And I think I want to touch upon that later on, like how I feel like we're on the same wavelength sometimes, and it's a little bit weird, but I'm running with it and it's fun. And I think eventually I'll like open more doors where it'll feel a little bit more like there's a purpose to why the art that they come out with has already made sense to me and in the work that I've come out with. So anyway,
Yeah.
I
feel like we should touch on the weirdness of, especially like some of the conversations you and I have at 11 o'clock at night, where we're like, you know what? They won't do this. They would never post this. They would never announce this. They would never do that. And then like the next day it happens. Or like the time where we're sitting in my car when you were coming up to visit me, Maddie pulls up that Amber Doyle, Greta's designer, is following this page with like Matador outfits. And she's like, oh, this gives so Josh's jumpsuit. And you're like sketching and drawing stuff. And I'm like looking at the picture and I'm like, yeah, it does, especially like where it sits and everything. And you were like, well, if she's following them, probably to get inspiration.
Yeah, I was just, and the thing is I wasn't just looking through her followers for fun. I was scrolling through the black hole of the For You page on Instagram, and I saw a video of a gentleman in a Matador outfit, and he was performing that act. And I was like, that is so Josh. Like that, the way that the man was walking around and the way he was moving his arms and arching his back is so everything about how Josh acts on stage. And so it immediately reminded me of him. And then I saw at the top that Amber follows that account. And it's probably why I was on my For You page, because I follow everybody. So that's kind of how it started. And Zoe and I were talking about the origin of the Matador outfit, and the culture of it, and it's controversial. I mean, it's not great, but if we're looking at it as art and how it applies, maybe the history applies to what Greta is doing or what they plan to do, I think it was a cool discovery and something we were having fun just theorizing about.
Yeah, because it is a
And then-
performance art. So, but
yeah, we found a lot of similarities in the use of red, and then all of a sudden we kind of see him come out with this outfit, and Zoe has now given me the very wonderful title of Rat. Like I'm the rat.
Yes.
I work for them.
I smell a rat.
Yeah, we stop getting
Well-
You guys don't know that video? I'm the giant rat that makes all of the rules. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll be done.
What is it from? You just kept going.
It's just a meme. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Now that makes more sense. I was like, is it from a musical or something? Like thought I was missing something.
Anyway, I'll mute myself.
Love it.
Well, because Maddie, we're both kind of a rat in a way. I mean, there's that one clip I posted of me predicting everything that was happening with Mirador. So we both have this, like I said, weird kinetic energy where we're like, one night we'll be like, I miss Jake. He doesn't post anymore. What's wrong with him? Why won't he post? He'll never post. Like it'll be a month. And then the next day he posts. It's a weird thing. And it's only when I talk to you and predict things with you.
And we've tried to say something more important than when they're going to post, you know.
Right.
More important sometimes. And we'll say they'll never do that. Oh, they're never going to do that. They're not capable of that. And then we'll kind of give each other side eye. Never speak it into existence that we're kidding. Because we're like, okay, if that worked X amount of times, we might as well, you know, continue to manifest. And that's been a weird thing. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think in some way artists and creators, and Lindsay, you fall into this too. So just so you know, you don't just have to paint or crochet to be in this category, but because they have artistic ability, I think we're all just kind of a part of this line of, you know, wavelength. We're going to use, that's like a buzzword of the night. Wavelength.
It's the neurodiverse artists, many of whom are gay.
Well, 2 of the thirds here, but
2/3. Hey, and we're holding out for you, Maddie. It's okay. You can still come. Come in.
No, she's ally.
Side note, I did post on my story saying if you like this, it means you want to kiss me, and like 3 different Gresties liked it. Y'all are so real for that. So real.
If you like my story, that means that's basically a kiss on the mouth. Is that
basically a kiss? And then above it, I was like, "This is a test." And the fact that y'all didn't like it, wow. Anyway,
well, Lindsay, you know we love you anyway, so that's like a given. We don't have to like your story.
I have a podcast with you, and I came to Indiana in the coldest month of the year. If that doesn't show love, I don't know what does.
Okay, and Maddie, I really want you to come here too and see my new place, and we can party it up with Megan. Megan, hi, I love you. Because it's just such a fun time, and reflecting on of like that was so long ago. I see you guys so long. So sad.
It has been long. March.
I will make my way.
We did see each other at the party, but that was so close and so quick.
Pittsburgh?
It didn't feel like no. I'm talking about the parking lot party.
Oh, parking lot party. Sorry, you were.
We haven't talked about it at all.
Well, we're not there yet. We're gonna get to that. So let me move this train along because we have been on the slide for 20 minutes.
This is gonna be a 2-hour episode. So
special edition. Care to discuss?
Ooh, there
And
it
shout out to
is.
the hair clip that I got you.
You are so freaking funny. I don't want to talk about it. Next. No, I'm kidding. This is like this I don't want to sound like this. Ugh. This is like a very big thing for me.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Let me go through it as quick as possible. So for those of you who don't know, I was drawing each of the members, I almost said members of Greta Van Fleet digitally. And when I drew Jake, oh my God, Zoe. When I drew Jake, I was, I don't know what I'm saying here. Let me backtrack a little bit. I was working on Jake, and my friend Vicky, also known as Ethereal Thread Co on Instagram, she was like, I'm dying to stitch that. Do you think we can work on this together? And I was like, well, let's go. We collaborated for months on a design. And if we go back to the other slide of the jacket, I can kind of explain a little bit of what I meant by how long we spent on things. But that is clearly the drawing of Jake on the left on the jacket. And I mocked up that design so that the frets would go over the collar and around the sides of the flames. And then on the front, I wanted to incorporate the sword in a way, and also, again, mimic kind of what Sam had going on. I really, really love Sam's outfits. With the sword crossing, I think there's an image of one of his old suits that had swords crossing with tears coming from the tips of the sword. So something that you can't see here is the tip of the sword with blood drips, and they are rhinestones that Vicky put on. So this took, I don't know, almost 6 months between the idea, the sketches, the mock-ups, to Vicky actually sewing things by hand and using her vintage machine. She added jewelry and beads and rhinestones, and it is the coolest thing I own and the most expensive item.
So
and I was so
cool. It's
proud
worth
to wear
though.
it.
Yeah.
So worth it.
I just sorry, I remember us being at Rainforest Cafe
Yes, I was
in
thinking
the middle of
exactly
a
that.
mall, and
Yep.
Vicky's like, I'm so close to you. Do you want to see the jacket? And she brings the jacket over with her to the mall to have you put it on. And you're like, it was such a cool moment to see, like, kind of when it was in the middle, like it was near maybe the end of the middle, like it was almost there, but it wasn't done yet. So to see that like transitional period was really cool.
Even then though, it looked incredible, but like the way that she took, I don't know, like the shine of your art is really, really like upheld in how she like portrayed it on. It's just it's truly like it is a piece of art, and then on top of that, it's like art come to life in such a unique way. So I understand why Jake took a liking to it.
Oh,
gorgeous.
yeah. Wait.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Huh? What's that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Huh. I've never seen that before. Oh my God, the zoom in. Wait, that guy in the back, that's me actually. See, I look calm, cool, and collected, but the guy behind, like in front of me in there is me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess to segue into this moment, I think this was the first show that I wore the jacket to, which was South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
Carolina. Yeah, that was the first time I wore it. That can't be right, but I think it is. Yeah, because I wore, the first leg I wore the other jacket.
Yes, this was at South Carolina because I was there trying to find you after, and I was like,
yeah. So in the picture we have Greta's Starcatcher World Tour photographer Lewis, and prior to the show, I had noticed online that he was kind of approaching fans or letting fans come up to him to take pictures of their outfits or their nails or glasses or anything. So I felt like if I saw him and he wasn't busy or running backstage or whatever, I would approach him to see if he could get a picture of the jacket, because Vicky and I were, you know, we wanted Greta to see it. We wanted more eyes on it than what we had gotten. And I think we both deserve that as artists and creators. So it was nice to get his attention. And before I even asked him officially to take a picture, he was like, I saw that earlier. I saw it earlier. Vicky tagged him in the post that I was going to be there, and he saw it. And immediately it was like a photo shoot. He was like, all right, stand like 5 feet up that way, face the stage, turn this way. And he kept like going, okay, turn your shoulders a little bit. And I was just standing there like kind of shaking. I will admit, like, I'm not trying to be like that person, but it was exciting. Because it felt like, regardless of if I ever know for a fact that this band sees it, it doesn't matter, because they now have record of it, and I'm sure someone will see it. And I don't need them to tell me that they've seen it. It's okay. I'll never need that. But it did happen, because Jake Kiska, as you see on the right, posted it to a story. And I was driving to a birthday party, and all of a sudden I got all these calls and DMs, and I was like, okay, something bad happened. And I'm driving. And I just picked up, exactly. And that's like a big fear of mine, I won't lie. So whoever came up first, I just hit accept, or I hit answer. It happened to be my friend Tatum, and she was like, Jake posted you on the story. And I was like, why? I was like, ew. I was like, okay.
Why?
Rude.
Stalker, freak.
Yeah,
all right.
Freak. Whatever. No,
Exactly.
yeah, geez, why are you so obsessed with me for, bro?
Meanwhile, you have his face on your jacket.
What?
I said, meanwhile, you have his face on your jacket.
I know.
Like,
yeah,
geez, stalker, what are you posting me for?
Yeah, I don't even like you. You suck. So it like clicked immediately, and I was screaming a little bit. And then I was like, okay, dude, like, people are calling me. I have to drive to my destination. I'm gonna be late. And then I think Zoe called, or I called you or something. I think you did call. And we were screaming and freaking out. And I was like, what is he doing that for? And then I was like, wait, it wasn't just me, right?
I think you had like do not disturb or something on or something, and I kept hitting the notify anyway. I was like, put this call through.
You to the main.
Yeah, it was a jump scare. I think, when I parked, I looked, and I saw that other people were posted, and I was happy about that. But I don't know. I think we tried really hard for them to see it. We posted a bunch of stuff leading up to it, how we made it, the big reveal. We had a photo shoot with my friend Cami, who's an incredible photographer, and she did Vicky's work justice. I will say that more than we ever could. Yeah, these are her photos.
Yeah, the photos are great.
And along with that, Vicky had gone to a show prior to South Carolina, and she gave Jake my artwork of him. And he took it along with some other stuff she made for him. So he's probably like, oh, this girl, fine, okay, I've seen it enough, which leads me to bringing it to the parking lot party. And
yes,
people seeing it there and recognizing it because Jake posted it to a story, or seeing it at the shows. I was
because he liked it a lot.
Approached.
It's good.
Thank you.
And worthy of being posted.
Yeah, because his face was on it.
That too. That never hurts.
That's true. Yeah, he did like it because he looks good in it, because I made him look good. So fine. Ha, there.
So and what do you want about it?
And what about it?
What about it?
But yeah, being approached at shows with this on was interesting because I got that a little bit from the jacket before, but this was way different because I think at that point, going to some of the shows in May, what people wanted pictures with me or of it, and I caused a scene, so that was fun.
Because he spotlighted you.
I was walking you around like a billboard at Mohegan.
Yeah.
I was like, look at this jacket. Look at her jacket. Look, do you
Guys,
get a
have you seen
picture of
this?
it? I
Yeah.
was
That's how
like
I felt.
spinning.
That's how I felt with your moth outfit, though. I'm like, yeah, she made that. She made
Yes.
it literally.
Well,
Mhm.
for my moment, I remember us being in the pit in St. Louis, and I had my pictures of Jake and Josh, and I had a piece of cardboard, and I was like, I forgot a Sharpie to write a note. And you're like pointing at it and like asking people for Sharpies for me. And I think it was Sophie and
Sophie
whoever
had
was
one.
near
Sophie
Sophie
found
at
one.
the end of the catwalk. They were like, you did that? And I was like, yeah, I did a Sharpie though. I need to be able to write like I made this for you. But
I made this for you.
Yes.
Speaking of
But-
Sophie, oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was
You're
gonna say,
the
speaking of Sophie, thank you. Speaking of Sophie, I was in line with her going into Pittsburgh. Yep, Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Yeah, because my sister was with us. And she was in her fabulous Jake suit that she made like from scratch. And she saw Lewis before me, and she's like, Lewis. She turns me around, and I'm like, no, Sophie, he's already seen me. Like, please don't bring him over here. Like, he doesn't need to take my picture again, please. Like, I don't need that. And he comes running over because he's like, oh. And we got to chat for a little bit. And something we haven't seen yet, and I hope we do maybe in like the next zine that they make, is our picture together, because he took a picture of our suits and the fact that we both made them. And
I love that.
her and I are both like, fingers crossed that we'll see those pictures, but we know we probably will never.
Okay.
But yeah, shout out to Sophie for like putting me on blast again.
Huh.
That's what
We should have
friends are
Sophie
for.
on too.
True.
Oh my god. Sophie, if
I
you're
don't
listening,
think
come on the pod.
Sophie didn't want to be on even a video of ours in the line at Pittsburgh. So we'll let her live her fantasy unless she wants to.
I'm gonna force you to.
Yeah.
Y'all are just so talented. Like literally every single part. I will never stop saying it, how talented everybody in this group is. Like everybody is, it's really cool.
Everybody's so creative.
Everybody's so, but truly. And that was put on highlight at the parking lot party, truly.
Yes. So let's transition into that. Maddie, I showed Jared, Jake, and Josh, but we also have to go through Sam and Danny. The Sam one, honestly, might be my favorite. Just the way that
the
those
perspective.
Yeah, and the keys, the way like his hand rests on it. I know it's right there. I need one, by the way, for the wall.
On it.
So
yeah, that's definitely been my favorite too. A little secret. I was gonna put him on the back of my jacket.
Cool.
And then we like literally mocked that up with Vicky, and then it was last minute. We were like, no, it needs to be red, because red's like my favorite color, and it's Jake, and I guess I like him. So
maybe
anyway,
a little bit, whatever.
Anyway, I can't wait to make a reel of this, of just all the times Maddie hated to love Jake.
I do. I don't like him, but it's fine. I say while I'm like leaning back in my chair. It's whatever. Ugh.
I hate him, actually.
I guess he's fine.
He's all right.
Whatever. Anyways, here's your art with someone that we're all familiar with.
Mama Kiska.
Oh, I love her.
What was
I watched
the
you take
parking
that
lot?
photo.
What's that, Lindsay?
I just remember the moment of this happening, of like you talking with her and like how genuinely like I'll let you tell it, obviously, but from the outside in, I was like, this moment is so cool for you right now.
Yeah, no, I want to hear kind of, your perception about it, because I was just so zoned in on every word that she was saying, and I didn't want it to feel like that, because she's, as much as she does have a high status, she made it very clear without words that she is a normal person and has a normal life and is sharing the art and legacy, even though they're not like gone, within their hometown, and it's something that the locals even still want to be a part of, because I think of the investment that the boys still put into their hometown and the charities around that. So I don't think I felt intimidated by her at any point. Zoe and I had an interesting meeting. That sounds really, it wasn't a meeting. We walked up to the parking lot where the party was, because it was a parking lot party, guys. And Karen and her business partner, Barb, we love Barb. I love Barb. We're just kind of like setting up our tables and putting tablecloths down and just chatting. And there was really no one around except for them. And Zoe and I felt like we needed to get a better idea of when we wanted to set up and what we wanted to do. And long story short, we kind of had like a quick conversation that broke the ice for sure, and let us know, at least from my perspective, that like she's cool. She's here for us throughout the entire day and wants to make sure that if we need anything, like she's going to be there. And she was helping run a table the entire time. We're walking around.
She was like moving tables. Her and Barb were like strong arming everything that day. They were like just super impressive and like not above like helping out or doing anything, which was like so awesome to see them just kind of like lead and know everything about what was going on. There was a lot of build up too. Like I know we're just jumping right to the event, but there was so much even the night before that was going on that we were getting ready for. The 10.5-hour drive out to Michigan, which was just like a pit of anxiety for me, at least, because I had no idea what to expect. So that first interaction with them, I feel like really melted some of the stress, but then was also like, oh, shit, she's really cool. And now I have to keep my cool for the rest of the day.
Yeah, because we were working. We were in work mode the entire time. And I think that was really important because we were one of 6, Zoe. We were one of 6 from around the country who were selected to be there and sell our work. And it wasn't just Greta Van Fleet work. It was work inspired by, or just work that we do as consistent practicing artists. And they wanted us there. And that is an honor. And I think something that was and is still very important to us. So we had like our game faces on, and we were ready to kind of work through whatever we had to work through, because it wasn't like an easy day. I mean, it was a long day. We had to set up ourselves. It was hot.
It was, and we were like kind of at the end of the tent, which at one point in the day was nice because the sun was at the right spot that we weren't in direct sun. And then the sun moved and we were in direct sun. We were also right behind the music. So all day, all you have is great loud live music, which is awesome. But you're working and you're having to yell over live loud music, and it's like 85 degrees out, and it becomes hard to work in, but you do it because you're so excited. So
yeah, we saw some people that we were like, okay, we recognize you. Talking about Papa Kiska. That was cool. He performed with Erin-Clare.
That was fun.
Others.
Yes. Yeah, that was funny because we kind of let him like set up. We didn't want to run over and introduce ourselves. And then it happened that it had reached the end of the day and we still hadn't introduced ourselves. So we did make a point to introduce ourselves at the end. But it was really funny all day because I feel like, me personally, I kept catching glances where I was trying to look at the band, and then I'd look over and he'd be like looking back at all of us, and I was like, bye.
Yeah, he was really nice too.
Yeah,
he was really nice. Really quiet, really, really pays attention to you when you speak. really listens to you. I don't know. We were not talking about anything legendary. We were just kind of having a friendly conversation. And he
Yep.
was very thankful for us being there and being a part of the event. And I think that was expressed by Karen too. After we spoke to him that night, Zoe and I had a really special kind of one-on-one with Karen after that, and kind of just explaining a little bit more about the experience with Karen. I felt like she spent a lot of time at the tables, and me specifically, because I only know the conversation from for when she came up to me. I don't know how she was with other people, but I found that she really wanted to know a lot about my process and what each element of the work meant and how it came about. And then it wasn't until she looked to her left and it was like the jacket, and I think she almost fell over, and it was really fun to talk to her about that. And I have some really funny pictures of her from my beautiful, wonderful, special friends who like just kept taking pictures and videos. So grateful for you, because I would have remembered it, but it's nice to have that because you know how that goes.
I wasn't not gonna take a photo. I was like, no, I'm getting
appreciate
this.
that. Appreciate that. There's a picture of her like at the jacket, and she's like touching it, and I thought to myself, okay, I've been telling people all day not to touch it, and she's the only person ever that can touch it. Not even her own son's like, no, you can touch the jacket. You are the reason they're there. So anyway, she asked to buy all 4 of the prints, and that's why she is holding them. And I told her no. I was like, I'm not letting you buy these. You can just have them. And she insisted. And it was the last sale that I had. And it was really lovely. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, your interaction with her was special. It was very cute to watch happening. I was having like a slight mental break, a mentee B, as we call it, you know? And that's kind of a fault of my own. And this is for all the people out there with anxiety. Don't be afraid to speak up and say something. I had Karen over at my table. She was like, I think came up to mine, I don't know, like in the middle. And people kept coming up to her and trying to talk to her while she was at my table. And I didn't speak up. I didn't say anything. I kind of let it happen because I didn't want to seem a certain way or rude or be like, look at me, the attention's on me. And I had made her a crocheted rose, and I couldn't find the right time to jump in because I was too scared to do it. So don't let your anxieties get in the way of you, people. Like it's not worth it. So I had a moment with myself, and Lindsay was there, and I was probably not the most fun person in the world in that moment. But
a long day. You're fine.
It was a long day. And I kind of like stopped, and because everyone was like, you know, oh, you can go give it to her now. Give it to her now. I'm like, no, this is like Maddie's moment. Let Maddie have her moment. They're having a conversation. Like, I'll get to her before she goes to the next table. Like, I let the anxiety shut up at that moment and was like, I have to give this to her. And the moment I gave it to her with like even the little thank you cards that I was putting in the bags, she was like amazed at the thank you card. And I was like, the rose is the actual gift, not the card. She was like, you designed this? And I was like, yeah, I made like a stamp, and I stamped it out as like thank you cards. And she was like, it's a stamp? Like, she was like in awe, I feel like, of everything she was looking at, which as an artist is like most valuable when like somebody sees your art and isn't just like walking past your table and like, yeah, looks nice, great. Like when somebody even interacts with you for 5 minutes or less than that, it's like, even if you don't buy anything, I'm thankful that you saw the value in it. Which was really nice to like have even that 30 seconds of like, I made this for you. I didn't get to give it to you. I'm sorry, but this is for you. And then she, you know, gave me a hug, which is just
she
like,
has the best hug. She has the best hug.
Yeah.
You got
It's a
2.
true
You got
mom hug.
2. You got 2.
Me.
Okay, wait, sorry. I'm proud of you, Zoe, because I was like, we're not going to go up to them anymore. Like, no. You're like, no, we're going to go up to Papa Kiska. Kelly, sorry. I don't want to call him Papa Kiska. Kelly, because that's how he introduced himself to us. He said, "Hi, I'm Kelly," which was interesting. And you were like, "No, we're going to go up to him." And there was no time for us to think about it. And when I say us, I mean me, because I would have been like, "No, it's fine." But you're like, "Okay, we're going." So I'm proud of you for pushing not only yourself, but me over there. Exactly. And then after that, I was like, "Oh, we already kind of said goodbye. I already had my moment with Karen." And you're like, "No, we're gonna go. We should go. I don't know where Barb is, but we should go say hi to Karen or goodbye." And we had a lovely interaction, which I think we can keep close to our hearts. But then she gave us another hug, and it was like, well, she gave you another hug. I got a hug from her then.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a lovely moment. For sure. Yeah.
You can just we have Maddie and I, as soon as we got out of the parking lot, went to the car, filmed a video of us talking about all the things that had happened, because we're like, we're gonna forget, we blacked out, we're gonna forget, say it now. That. So those are hidden for the soul.
Yeah. And you know what? When you connect with somebody that, we don't know her, we don't really, by association, we care about her because of the boys, but also she wasn't just like a trophy walking around showing face and then leaving. She had deep roots in this charity and this event, and had a really good conversation with Lindsay, and I think we should talk about that.
Yes. I was just taken aback because you're so right. Like everywhere that she went, she just like I just know if it would have been me, it would have been so hard to equally invest in every single person, but like she just seems a natural at it, that she just like there's nothing holding her back from like trying to connect to every single person that she was talking to. It was crazy. Like she just like you can really tell like okay, they get their performing genes from her, but like also this like genuine need to just like share and invest. It was very cool.
Well, she also has 4 kids, so I feel like as a mother of 4, you start to learn how to like invest in a child's conversation, and if you could do that with 4 kids, you could do that with a parking lot full of people, especially 4.
She just
4 of those. 3 of those.
3 of those. Well, 4.
We don't know about
the 4th.
No, but
Danny. I'm just kidding.
He's a brother. He's a real brother. No, yeah, I also had to overcome the nerves, but there was just like this perfect moment where I was just chilling, and I met these 2 girls. I don't remember their names right now, but if they're listening, thank you so much for pushing me to go talk, because I'm not the kind of person that's like, even if I see a line of people, well, especially if I see a line of people, I'm not going to get in that line and like talk. I don't want to be like bothering people. But at the same time, she wants to share about her project. Like that's the whole point of this thing, is this charity, not her project, but this whole event is for that. And I wanted to ask her about it just from, the perspective of like, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? Like, obviously Greta is supporting this, but like what is it is basically what I was just asking her. I was like, I just want to know what it is. And there was this perfect moment. She'd been talking to people, and then they walked away, and the girls by me were like, have you gone and met Karen yet? And I'm like, no, I don't wanna. And they're like, she's literally standing there alone doing nothing. And I look over, and sure as hell she is. She's just standing there, just doing nothing. I'm like, well, okay, she probably wants to talk about her project. I want to know about her project. So I do. And I was like, hi. Dude, I think that's the only famous person I've ever met, truly. And she was so sweet. She's not even like famous, but she was so sweet. And I was like so taken aback, because I would have been very much like nervous and starstruck, but she's just like a very calming, normal, genuine person. And she told me so much more about the Bethesda project than I thought she would. Like I'm a rando. Like who am I, But she's like, what's your name? And like asking, like specifically about me. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? So I asked her about the Bethesda project and like what it's about. And she went into detail, like the needs in their community, like these people with disabilities who kind of like age out of systems and then don't have anywhere to live you know, that like can meet their needs and give them like a source of freedom that doesn't exist in Frankenmuth right now. And that's like their whole MO is like trying to make a space for these people, create a living situation that gives them as much freedom as they need while also helping them. And it's like a underserved community in lots of places, but especially apparently Frankenmuth. She was giving me like the logistic breakdown, and I was like so honored that she like wanted to like talk so much with me about it. But then I was like, this is so cool that like she is so invested in this, especially, you know, having worked with people with disabilities. Like I got to talk a little bit about that too, like how underserved those kids are, like coming into those kids come into my classroom, but they don't get into the main classroom. Like that was cool to talk with her about, because for a second it like wasn't even about Greta. It was just
Yeah.
about this charity that
Mm.
she's really invested in, and something that I'm passionate about too. Like it was a really cool moment, and I was just like, I felt so honored that she like wanted to tell me specific. Nobody else was listening. It was just me and
Mm.
her for a little bit, and I was like, this is so
That's
special. I
cool.
feel like so like I wanted to go find a Bethesda project in Indy after that. Like she
Mhm.
really
Right.
was like, it was really cool to just like hear her and hear how inspired she was by the message that Josh always provides, to then go and take that and do it in her hometown. You know, like it was so sweet
Exactly.
to see like she also is inspired by Greta, you know? And it's evident by the fact
Mm.
that like they would even do that event. Like
Well,
they can recognize that you guys are inspired because they are also inspired to like go do good because of this thing, you know?
right,
Mhm.
and it's really the House of Greta as a whole. I mean, Barb, I could talk about Barb forever. So
Barb, we love you.
Barb was running the event as well, and she was the kindest, the most helpful person I I mean, other than Karen, that I was talking to all day. She was always like, "Are you guys okay? Do you need anything? Like,
Mhm.
what can I do? Are you
Brought
feeling
us cake.
okay?" She was so kind, and I also had a rose for her that I was handing to her, and she was like, had I think she almost fell over because she was like, "For me, like everybody wants to give Karen stuff, like nobody ever wants to give me stuff," and I was like, "Well, you're just as much a part of this." So I want to make sure we shout out Barb, because they
Yes.
really made this event so special. And you're right, it was Greta, but like it was kind of like a world outside of Greta. Like this is like the direct radius of Greta, and we
Mhm.
were like right outside of it, in a space that felt like this is the community right here. We're not here
Mhm.
for a show. We're not here to see the four white boys from Michigan. We're here to do
Mhm.
something good as the Peaceful
Mhm.
Army and to
Yeah.
show up, you know? And
Yeah.
that felt
Yeah.
just
And
as
they
good as
really
going
did.
to a show. Yeah.
It was like all the good parts of a show and none of the stress. Like really, I mean,
Well,
for y'all it
some.
was stressful.
Uh,
For y'all it was like, for
That's
me,
true.
just like existing and like getting to participate and like, you know, like spend money on my friends. It was just like really
Mhm.
fun. It was a great,
Yeah.
I highly recommend everybody try to come to the next one because it was awesome.
Yeah, definitely be there. I was
Mhm.
just gonna say while you were talking that I don't think we talked to Karen or Kelly or Barb about Greta at all. We never brought
No.
them up at all.
And
We
that was
never
by
asked them
choice,
questions. It was
Very
by
but
choice.
clear.
Yeah, it was by
Mhm.
choice, but I think it was also I mean, I'll just speak for myself, but I think you probably agree. It wasn't hard
No.
not to speak about them. I know we were there in a way because of them, but at the same time, we knew they weren't going to be there. We knew that.
Right.
Um, they even said this event is not officially affiliated with Greta Van Fleet.
Mhm.
There were some surprises that happened. We got a lovely gift from Josh for everyone who attended that wanted to pay $20 for a rose, with a lovely note from him that went towards the charity, which we weren't told beforehand. Um, but I think, you know, there were just, for us, maybe not others who attended for other reasons, but for us as vendors and people who were working, uh, we didn't feel the need to bring that up. And I think it was important for us because it allowed us to not only be fans, which was a given, that's why we're there,
Right.
but to also be business people, and
Yeah.
and to show that we can be professional in this space and be inspired by their music, but also to have things on display that exceed that. And that was
Definitely.
really cool, I think, for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this trip definitely taught me a lot about my own anxieties too, as being someone like who is kind of, I myself am the business, you know, and you're the
Mhm.
same way. You are your own business. There's no team, there's no anything else. You are the face of your own business. It's not a mascot, like it's
Mhm.
you. And that can bring on a whole flurry of stress because you have to appear, you know, normal. You have to appear, well, there's no real normal, but you have to appear in a way that you are professional, which becomes very overwhelming when you're talking to hundreds of people and, you know, you're trying to make time for everything and you're trying to, in my case, seem like an adult. And I feel like I forget all the time that I'm 23 years old. And I'm like, oh my God, wait, like I am an adult, but I don't have to act like I'm 45, you know?
Mhm.
So I think this trip taught me a lot about that and about how to just work through the anxiety. So any of you out there that have it, it it's not easy to work through, but through experience you will learn a lot. I forget what actor said this. I feel like it was one of those awkward white boy actors, whether it was um, what's his name, the guy that played Mark Zuckerberg or one of the other awkward white boys out there. But they were talking about having anxiety and being like an actor, and they were like, "Oh, when I have anxiety, I just act like I don't have anxiety. I put on a
Mhm.
character that doesn't have anxiety." And that's, I think, what kind of happened towards with like the going up to Kelly and Karen, where I was like, "Oh no, we're just gonna go." And it was just like, don't overthink it. You're somebody else right now, still
Yeah.
yourself, but you just don't have anxiety, so go do it. And
Yeah.
it was weird and it happened and I don't know, man.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. Lindsay, you kind of brought up the fact that this event wasn't a show, so there weren't the stresses, and of course, Zoe and I were like, "Oh, a little bit," but not to the scale. And I think those who are watching understand the level of anxiety all across the board that comes with going to a show. But it is partially excitement, I think, disguised as anxiety sometimes. But I know for me, when I go to a show, I rarely live in the moment, and then it's over, and then we're going home. And I've spent hours, days, weeks preparing for it, and it's done in 2 hours, but usually it feels like 2 minutes. So I I've been starting to be more aware of being present at things like that. And when I did that at one of the last shows, I had a really emotional moment when the lights were all off and they were on B stage, but the lights were everyone had like their flashlight out, and you could just like see it was like a night sky. And I was looking at people singing their songs, and like I just felt like I was in a different space than a Greta Van Fleet show. So anyway, along those lines, I think at the parking lot party, I was dehydrated, I was hungry. People kept coming up, and I was also this is my fault. I was also taking video because I made a little recap video of the event as a gift to Karen and Barb. And yeah, oh, lovely. These fans were lovely. And so I was like, I wasn't living in the moment, and I was like, this is a long event, and I'm excited, but I also need to take a minute to figure out what I'm doing. So I left my station. I had two incredible friends that stood there when I had to leave to go to the bathroom or eat or whatever. So because our hotel was across the street, I went up to the room. I like downed like 6 water bottles and
Oh, that's where they
realized,
all went.
yeah, TMI, but I was like, I haven't peed in like all day. I was like, I'm dehydrated. I have not felt like that because you both know that all I drink is water.
Yeah.
I'm 100% water, I fear. So I was up in the room and I could see from the window the parking lot. And I stood there and I went, oh, well, I have to mention too that there was air conditioning on because it was hot.
Yeah.
I'm standing there like, you know, catching my breath and figuring this out. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, this is one of the coolest things I've done this year. And it's going to be over. And I'm freaking out. And it was, there was no pressure left on me. I was communicating with people. I was having a great time. I was making sales. I was listening to music. It was incredible. But I breathed for a minute and I took it all in. And I think that was a really important part of the time, the present time, but then how I'm now treating things like that since then. And so I think if we're going to be teaching people on here, like Zoe's been doing, you have to take some time for yourself, even if you think you don't have time to, because it's important for you and your growth. What is that?
Putting the phone down is what I'm implying.
Oh.
Put the phone down.
Put the phone down. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So I don't know. I was gonna say something else about this parking lot party, but
should we tell a funny little story since we've been talking all sappy?
Yeah, we're very serious. Just so everyone knows, like, we're in a group chat and I'm not gonna say anything, but we're like really cool and we're still goofy and we're fun.
Please. We just say the shittiest. I don't want people I don't want people being like, oh, I want to be in the group chat. Listen, we're just shit posting, okay? It's just anybody
it's just
can do
Pinterest
this, okay?
memes at 2:00 in the morning. Who up Jake and their Kiska? Like
and it's funny every goddamn time.
It is funny. We're really funny. I think we're a funny bunch, yeah.
I think I'm about to tell the funniest story ever, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through it. So pardon me if I have a few moments. So it's the night before the parking lot party. Maddie and I are like in focus zone, grinding, crunching. We're like putting out labels, like we're setting everything up so that we can get up in the morning and go over. I'm still crocheting stuff. We're having a night. I am like dying at this point. I'm like, I need caffeine. I need a soda. I need good old Coca-Cola to get me through this. So I said, okay, I'm going to be right back, but I'm not bringing my key. You'll be here, right? And you said, yes. So I said, okay, great. I go out to the hallway. I go down to the little scary hallway where the vending machine is. I get my Coca-Cola for like $3.50, whatever. I'm maybe out of the room for a total of 1.5 minutes. I get back to the room, knock on the door. No response. And I'm like, well, I did leave the computer on with TV. I put SpongeBob on for us so I can hear the SpongeBob. So I'm like, well, maybe I didn't knock loud enough. Maybe I need to do that again. I'm trying not to wake up the whole damn hallway, but bonk, 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 and nothing again. And I'm like, So then at this point, one of the other vendors, Anna, steps out of her room and she was like, oh my God, like, I have something for you. I have little gift bags for you. And like, for me? And she was like, yeah, and Maddie. And I was like, oh, I'm waiting for Maddie to let me in, but I can give it to her once she lets me in. And she was like, oh my God, yeah. So we're talking out here. It's probably been about 5 minutes at this point that I'm out in the hallway. I'm texting Maddie. I've called her like 3 times. I can't get her to open the door. I'm like, what the hell happened?
Mind you, Maddie is the most straight-laced among us all, so there's nothing that should be altering how you can interact here.
No. So I'm like, did she die? Like, I'm like, now at this point, I'm panicking because I'm like, did she pass out? Did she not eat enough today? Did the Zender's famous chicken dinner put her on, like, her, put her on her ass? So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, all right, maybe SpongeBob really was too loud and she really can't hear me knocking. So I go on my phone, I go into the notes app, and in all caps, I write, let me in! Exclamation point. And I airdrop it to the computer because I know when I airdrop stuff to the computer, it opens it in a new window and takes it off the screen. So I'm like, if she's really locked into SpongeBob right now, it'll take her away from it and put it on the notes app.
Oh my god.
It's maybe
You're
like
genius.
a minute or so after that she finally comes to get the door, and you're like, what? And I'm like, I have been out here for 10 minutes. And I'm like, I called you, I texted you, look at the computer. And the computer, you see the notes.
It's like SpongeBob on like one side and like let me in. Like,
Oh my god.
and you know what I was doing? Washing my feet. Because I had a long day.
For 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was soaking them. I was soaking my feet. I was like, oh, this is so nice. I'm giving myself a little spa.
She
The
completely
water was
gonna
on.
sleep in the hallway.
Yeah, the water was running. It was loud in the bathroom, and then the SpongeBob was on. So,
and you were locked
that
in.
was I was locked in. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically I made a fool of myself out in the hallway with Anna because I'm like, yeah, she's watching SpongeBob in there. I don't know what's going on.
She's like,
Oh,
she's a SpongeBob freak, and I'm like, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who put you
actually
on the planet? Ugh. But yeah, that was our really funny, crazy, kooky story.
Yeah, we had a lot of interesting moments. It was fun. We met a lot of cool people. I think I'm sure you experienced this too, Zoe, but a lot of locals walked up to our tables, and some of them were like, "Where are you from?" You know, I'm like, "Oh, I'm here." And they're like, and I was like, "Oh, like where are you from?" And they're like 5 minutes down the road, and I was like, "Oh," and some didn't tell me how far they were, and then proceeded to tell me that this is very cool, but it's funny too because they knew them and watched them perform in a basement, and they played in the same parking lot that we were selling artwork about them, and just like hearing that from people who clearly still care about them even if they haven't seen them in 10 plus years was really nice because, like I said before, it feels like they come back often regardless of it being like physically coming back. This is going to sound very morbid. They're alive still.
They're involved.
But their spirit, they're involved. Whether they're there digitally. But they were we know for a fact they were involved with this, and we didn't know that going in. Just to be clear, we didn't know that they had any part of it whatsoever until after that was told to us, and that was a cool thing to hear. Because as artists,
Josh with the roses.
Like exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted your train of thought. There's a weird delay happening here.
No, I think I was done. I could go on and on about it. I think we should watch. Oh, okay.
I didn't mean to pop that up right away.
No, I'd love to talk about that.
Oh, okay. I just thought this would be a good note to kind of end the episode on. You could shout out your latest work, and we can move on with our lives and stop being bothered by you to come on here.
I know. I literally have been knocking down these
let me in
people's doors and just kind of like saying to let me in, bro. Like, what the heck? I've been your friend for 10,000 years, and this is the first time I'm making an appearance.
What the freaking heck?
Right.
No, I'm honored. This was a perfect time to bring me in because we had some cool experiences this summer together, and we all got together to hang out in person. And that was lovely, and we need to do it again. But
and you finished up the project.
I did. Real quick, some context. Over a year ago, I attended my first show in Nashville, and at each of the shows that I attended, I took footage to eventually put into a 5 to 6 minute live music film to remember the time that I had at each show, but to also kind of form my own narrative based on their narrative of them on stage and all of that. So these two stills are from the film, and it's called Faye the Faithful Film. I don't know. It's called something. It's on my YouTube channel. You should go check it out. It's very cool. I did a
What's your
collaboration with
YouTube
Erin.
channel?
Madison Scisci, Madison Scisci. And then if you just look that up, I think it should come up.
Cool.
But I do want to plug Erin-Clare a little bit because this wouldn't have been where it's at without her. She did a rendition of Faye the Faithful, and I needed a score for this film, but I wanted there to be more to it than just what they had. So she added her flute in, and now I have to say, when I listen to the song, I feel like it's missing something because I've listened to her version of it so often for so long.
I love that.
I don't know what that means, but yeah, it was a cool collaboration, and I think quite a few people saw it, which was nice. And maybe some people who we don't know seen it, but they'll never tell us.
I'd say at least one or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but regardless, it wasn't for them. It was for me. And although it is of them, this is part of my career. I've been working a lot with musicians, and this was just one that I didn't get paid for, but it has been helpful for jobs that I've gotten other bands and musicians because they like the work and they want something similar. So it's been really fun, and I'm excited to continue to do things like that. And yeah, these are definitely two of my favorite stills from the film. So thank you for pulling those out.
Well, they were on your Instagram, so it made it easy.
Yeah.
It's the backlit Josh with the drip. Yeah, that's good.
That's
I
crack.
took it all with my phone. It is crack, yeah.
Yeah.
Dun, dun.
So as we end this episode, because we do like to yap, and I'm trying to be smart here and concise, tell people where they can find you on whatever social media you prefer, or all of the ones if you prefer. And do you have any parting words for the Peaceful Army with that?
Yeah, so I'm primarily on Instagram, and it's just my first and last name. I do have a media account that I post in tandem with my personal, so it's just my first last name .media. And I would say, if you want to follow me, great. I love chatting about art, music, Greta, food, whatever. I'll probably see you at a show, and you should definitely come up to me. But I think, if you want to talk about art or anything else, I'd love to chit chat because it's my entire life, and I've found a lot of inspiration from this band within my more recent work. But something I've kind of been figuring out is that it feels like this line of work has kind of always been a part of me, and I've just now unlocked a different level of it that seems more similar. So, growing up, I was an artist too, and I think now the work I'm making is meant for me at this age right now, this phase of my life. And I'm influenced by the music I listen to. It's a huge part of my life and always has been. But I think the work I'm creating was always supposed to be released, if that makes sense. So how that relates to what the heck you wanted me to say to part ways, I have no idea. But I think it's an important message that if anyone out there is looking to start creating or finding a reason to continue to create and feel inspired, to just go back into the music you're inspired by, other artists that you enjoy, talking to other people that may make art or write music or write you can literally find art in everything if you just look. So use your resources for sure.
Find somebody that motivates you to make your art better, or
Yes.
an accountability partner. I feel like all of you guys here in this group are an accountability partner for me in any way. Lindsay, I feel like you're very much a life accountable, where I'm like, hey, is this normal? Is this life normal thing? And then, and then Maddie, with you, it's just like, is this art good? Is this thing stupid that I'm about to put up on my Etsy or whatever? And I feel like that's part of it too. It's just having at least one or two people that you can bounce stuff off of that help you feel like you want to get better.
Yeah, you need to have a community. And if you didn't have that in college like I did, you find it in places like fandoms. And regardless of if you're an artist or not, I mean, people can attend the shows who are in the medical field, but they love the energy they bring and the art that they share on stage, which is inspiring to you no matter who you are or what you do.
Yeah. Well, and not everybody is able to pursue and make art their career. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of sleeper agent artists or creators of any kind come to these shows, especially young people like that. I like that message, Maddie, that you're saying, like, just go create. Cause like, that's really what this community does for me and for everybody, like just supporting each other to go create and like follow that urge. So if nobody in your life is telling you that, we're telling you that right now. Go make art, even if it's bad. Go do the stuff. That little itch in the back of your brain, just go follow it. Yeah, that's what we've been doing. And that's why this little group exists. I love it.
Make bad art. Do the things that make you happy. Live your life. And if you're scared, that means you're doing something right, in my opinion. If you're a little bit nervous about something, that means that you're challenging yourself. Unless it's like something illegal. Don't do anything illegal, guys. But if a project feels scary or intimidating to start, maybe that's the project that you should be working on, because that means you're going to grow.
Exactly the right path.
Live your legend through the intelligence of love. And you have to love yourself first. Love has to be for you too.
If you ain't going to love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
I'm Madison Scisci.
That was a little RuPaul's Drag Race crossover with the Greta world.
It's an amen. RuPaul next. He's our next guest.
RuPaul's our next guest, actually.
Actually, guys, he's right here. We don't need to invite him. We have another hour.
Drag, she's here.
RuPaul Charles, you're in the house. Sorry. Cooper and I have been watching it. So
this was lovely. I really appreciate you inviting me, and regardless of our relationship with each other, I have to say you're like allowing a space for people to be themselves and to share things with one another that exceeds how the band does it naturally. So thank you. I found that watching you guys and like literally finding you on Instagram being silly, goofy, like trying each of their favorite drinks, like I went, oh, I need to know who these people are because of their personalities and their fun. And that was when I was kind of first getting into Greta. So I kind of just kept following you along, and I realized that it was a safe space and there was no judgment. And that even if there were parts of the fandom that weren't peaceful, the peaceful podcast of the Peaceful Army was peaceful. And I gained 2 wonderful friendships out of it. So lifelong too. Like you guys are lifers. Sorry.
Yeah. You're never getting rid of me.
You're in it for the long run. We know way too much about each other, I fear.
You have too much dirt on me.
So I love you
guys,
both.
I'm having a Josh.
I'm
having a Josh moment.
Oh, I know. It was gonna happen eventually. I was gonna make you cry eventually, but I do mean it, you know. I've made a lot of friends in this fandom, and you find like friends. The hearts that just showed up. Is it gonna happen for me?
You gotta do the potato. Well, it still works.
Yeah, the potato. Okay. We need to have a tally, I think, of the amount of times that he's come up, because it's been
It is a podcast about Greta, so
yeah.
You're like, okay, you're never coming back.
Down.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Well, we appreciate all the kind words.
Oh,
Everyone,
guys.
Maddie's links are going to be below. So if you want to explore her art, explore the experience of Miss Madison, then you can find everything below. Full government name. But we hope you guys had a fun time with this whole episode. There was a lot that was covered. That was like kind of a full review of Starcatcher, which was also kind of cool because they just kind of finished one of their last shows. But if you guys haven't heard yet, we're doing a magazine project. We're inviting all of the fans, all of the friends of Greta to come in to join us. We're making this ourselves. It's not related to Greta at all. You can find out all the information on our Instagram. We want you to be a part of it. So go explore that as well. And we'll see you again in dos. How do you say weeks in Spanish?
I forgot.
I took
Dos
Spanish
weeks.
for so long and I don't know.
I don't
In
know.
2 weeks.
We're not going to butcher it.
In a fortnight.
And for a fortnight.
I knew it was coming. Anyways, guys, we love you. Thank you, Maddie.
Thanks,
Thank
Maddie.
you. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.